Welcome to episode 3 of Dysfunctional. I'm your host, Emily Diaz. Let's get started. Are you like me and do you have so many ideas for businesses, creative endeavors, and just personal growth activities? And you live off of making lists and brainstorming and just planning for the year ahead? Same. But if your brain works like mine, no amount of to-do list or brainstorming sessions will get you to get up and actually do them. In this episode, I will be sharing a science-backed system that I use to achieve my goals, even when I'm struggling with my executive functioning. And I also discuss exercises that help regulate your nervous system if you find yourself stressing out, if life gets too overwhelming in the pursuit of your goals. So before I started implementing this system that I'm going to share later on, my executive dysfunction was slowly ruining my life. It was getting hard for me to even take care of myself. I struggled with everything from getting out of bed, brushing my teeth, washing my face, and just moving my body in general. Those basic self-care tasks that for normal people are so easy to do felt like I was asking my body to run a marathon. I'm serious. And I know some of y'all know how that feels. I was slowly losing myself and my ability to live independently. This got in the way of my friendships, career opportunities, and overall development as an adult. I felt this horrible guilt going from being an overachieving high school student to a barely passing college student to an ambitious but exhausted employee that barely trusted herself. Even during the seasons where it felt like I had my life together, about every 3 weeks, I would go through waves of complete irritability, hopelessness, and isolation. I would say no to jobs because I didn't feel confident enough to work them. I would cancel on my friends that wanted to hang out, and I would lay in bed for days, both numbing or sulking in my depression, irritability, and anxiety. I would go from having these amazing jobs, social connections, and properly taking care of myself to being unemployed, lost, and just confused about my next steps in life. It wasn't until I started feeling really suicidal and I decided to take action to turn my life around. I recognize that my life is precious and I would never want to cause that pain to my loved ones because I know how it feels to get that call. I know how it feels to live life after someone you love committed. And maybe it was the love I have for my siblings or divine intervention from God. But I got so angry with myself for just digging myself so deep into the depression, and that finally motivated me to get up and do something about it. I finally had the energy to get back on the track that I literally worked so hard to get on in the first place. I got on a proper medication schedule, and for a couple of weeks, I would turn my life around and be the Emily I knew I could be. But like clockwork, that wave of sadness, irritability, and hopelessness would come rushing in just when I would start trusting myself again. For me, no amount of medication could help me get out of that dark hole I was digging myself in every time I let myself down for feeling like a failure for not accomplishing my goals. Yes, the medication was so important in beginning my journey, but I like to put it this way. It's like the medication helped me finally get out of bed, take care of myself, and research what ladder I needed to start climbing myself out of this hole. However, it was up to me to create a routine and a system in place to assure that I was actually climbing out of that hole day by day so that I wouldn't get so exhausted and give up on my goals again and literally go straight to rock bottom. And I'll be 100% honest. I have fallen to the bottom many a times, but now I know exactly what I need to do to get back up and start climbing again. And if you don't have those tools that you need to navigate the challenges that come from executive dysfunction, you'll keep reverting back to your old patterns and behaviors without having enough self compassion to keep chasing your life goals. And you deserve to keep chasing your life goals. That's why we were put on this earth, baby. Yeah, but be realistic with your goals. But at the same time, I always say Delulu is the Salulu. Your thoughts are frequencies. And the same way that your thoughts can lead you into a state of panic or a panic attack, it can lead you into success and happiness and a highness that you did not even know existed without drugs. As crazy as that sounds. But be compassionate with yourself when you don't follow through with what you wanted. Don't be afraid to start all over again every day. Doesn't matter. At least you're trying, at least you're moving. It's physics. An object in motion will stay in motion. An object at rest will stay at rest until a force acts upon it. And it is within us to find that force internally in order to get ourselves going. No one is going to come save you. No man, no girl, no parent, no one is here to save you. That's a lie. You have yourself, and that's it. So, here's what I did that actually started helping me achieve my goals. On my goals list, I used to write down the most general goals like work out more, travel more, eat healthier, make more money. And even once I would break down the goals to small activities like work out an hour a day, 5 times a week, my brain would see the list of physically taxing activities with no direction. And eventually I would toss that list to the side because subconsciously I held the belief that I was never and have never been the person who works out every day. This happens because our brain resists goals that conflict with our identity and beliefs. So, to begin your list, start by writing down your list of goals based on beliefs of who you are and write it down as an identity based action. So, for example, if your goal is to make more money this next year, write it down as I am someone who consistently engages in income generating behaviors. And once you have your list of identity and belief based actions down, break it down into easy, repeatable actions that your brain can simulate mentally, receive a dopamine rush from, and see it as low stakes. So, for the belief that you're someone who consistently engages in income generating behaviors, your list could look like this: track income and expenses every Sunday for 5 minutes, work on one monetizable skill for 10 minutes a day, spend 15 minutes 3 times a week on wealth education, whether that's reading a book, watching a lecture, or a video doc. Send one pitch, application, or follow up per week. Even if you do just one thing on this list, you'll benefit from the dopamine release of literally crossing out that task on your to do list. And that increases your self confidence, which rewards your nervous system and it moves you in the direction of your goals. Neuroscience shows that consistency beats intensity. Safety increases problem solving and creativity, and dopamine reinforces repetition. So, as you start becoming more self confident because you're finally seeing that you can get up and do something that leads you closer to the life that you want to live, you can start working on more of your goals. And for each goal, like I said, break it down into identity or belief based actions. So your brain can see that and say, oh, I trust myself. And this isn't a big deal if I get it done or not, but I'm going to try anyways. And don't get me wrong, there are so many times where yes, I have this list of actions that I need to do, but my executive dysfunction still stops me from getting up to do it. And so in times like those, I literally have to tell myself like count down, like okay, 3, 2, 1, and at 1 I'm going to get up and do it. And literally tell myself like okay, I'll do it for literally 2 minutes and if I don't like it, I'll stop. But usually like once I literally get up and sit down and start doing it, I will of course want to keep doing it. I do that a lot for working out too, because I'm like, I don't feel like working out. Let me just go like walk 5 minutes on the treadmill. And once I'm there, I want to do more intense workouts. So it's literally just about hacking your brain and your body enough to get up and literally do that activity that you have written down. And it's not going to come easy. Like I said, some of us need medications to follow through with everything, and other people just would rather not take medication and keep working on it. And, to each his own, do what you got to do. So, struggling with executive dysfunction ultimately leads me to struggle with emotional regulation. So, that's something that I'm constantly trying to work on. Um, this year, I fell into a state of panic and exhaustion over so many things all at once. I felt hopeless thinking about the horrible conditions at the detention centers, the rise of hatred and division within our communities, the dismantling of social welfare, environmental, and economic protections, all while trying to process emotions from my dysfunctional family dynamics and PTSD symptoms. Thankfully, though, after decades of suffering from panic attacks, I learned that for me, the easiest way to calm my body after my sympathetic nervous system takes over is to jump in the shower and stay there until my heart rate literally goes down. The hot water activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part of our nervous system that is in charge of calming your body down. Another exercise I practice is cold therapy. And that's basically where you grab a bag, fill it with ice, and put it on your wrist, neck, or face. You can do it with any kind of cold item. Like it could be a single ice cube or a cold soda or some peas in your freezer. Applying cold to areas like the face, the neck, and the wrist stimulates your vagus nerve, which helps slow down your heart rate and activates your parasympathetic nervous system. The last but quickest exercise I like to use is called the physiological sigh, and it is when you inhale twice through your nose and exhale once through your mouth. So it's like, and this type of breath balances your oxygen and carbon dioxide levels in your bloodstream, which in turn slows down your heart rate and activates that parasympathetic nervous system. Your body actually does this naturally when we're yawning. Next time you yawn, notice, see, I just did it. Fun fact, when you say the word yawn, I don't know why, I'll have to look it up, but you start wanting to yawn. So sorry about that. And also, animals use this as a way to calm down as well. So you could say this is just an innate behavior that animals and beings have. And the reason it's so important to have these exercises that can help you with emotional regulation is that situations that trigger your sympathetic nervous system into a panic attack or depression may lead to exhaustion of your parasympathetic nervous system. And if you're exhausted all the time and you don't have motivation, that'll make it harder for you to achieve your goals. And what's even more concerning is that there's evidence that this type of stress leads to cardiovascular diseases later on in life. 2025 has been a rough year, but together we can make 2026 a better year and a year to remember. But it starts with working on ourselves so then we can go help our communities that are in dire need right now. And this has been episode 3 of Dysfunctional. I hope that this episode is able to help at least one of you guys achieve your goals. And if it does, let me know how it's going. And I am so proud of you if no one has told you that today. Goodbye and see you next year. Let's put my brain back together, y'all. Okay, so I think it goes like this, and it goes like this, and it goes like this, then it goes like this. Get yourself a brain.